Today we're talking about what happens after you reach MMI in your workers' compensation case, because most people really have no idea what comes next. They think MMI means their case is over, but in reality, this is where some of the biggest decisions get made. Your disability ranking, your weekly payments, and your overall settlement value. If you don't understand how the MMI process works, you could miss deadlines, you could lose benefits, you could walk away with less money than you deserve, you could walk away with nothing, and that's not what we want. So we're going to break it down today. What does MMI actually mean? How is it decided? And what should you be expecting after you hit that point in your case? What is MMI in workers' comp and why does it matter? MMI stands for maximum medical improvement. It means that your doctor believes that you've healed as much as you can from this injury. You've plateaued. You've reached the point where you're not expected to get any better or much better. The doctors will make this call to move your case forward. Once you've plateaued, and the system is going to start looking at your long-term benefits instead of recovery. Most injured workers reach MMI about 1 to 2 years after the accident. MMI can be reached sooner depending on the severity of your injury, whether you had surgery. Surgery pushes it back. So take a shoulder injury, for instance. If you tore your something in the shoulder, your permanency is going to be assessed 1 year after your accident or 1 year after your surgery. So if you go and have surgery at that stage of your case, going to get pushed back a little bit because you just had surgery. So it restarts the clock because you're technically injured again. You can still get medical care after you reach maximum medical improvements. It doesn't mean you're shut out completely. You can still get maintenance and symptomatic care, but you're not going to be getting any more major treatment like surgery because you should be past that point. MMI is one of the most important points in your workers' compensation case. It triggers the process that decides your permanent disability rating, your weekly payments, and your eventual settlement if your case is going to settle. It really sets the table. It really gives us those beacons within your case as to how you're going to navigate and where the value lies and how much we're looking at. There's a lot at stake when you're getting to the point of MMI, maximum medical improvement. A single decision made around your MMI can mean thousands of dollars gained or lost over the life of your case. It can mean a lot. What is the process for establishing MMI in your workers' compensation case? It often starts with your doctor's report. They'll be the ones to know when no more treatment is needed. And if they feel you've reached maximum medical improvement, they file a form here in New York known as a C4.3 to make your MMI official. Has this person reached maximum medical improvement? Yes or no? It's as simple as that. It's a checkbox. Fill in the rest of the form. They give their opinion on permanent disability, schedule, non-schedule, work capabilities, functional capabilities. Everything's there. It's all laid out in black and white. It's super easy. And if they feel you've reached maximum medical improvement, they file that form. And next comes what? The IME, the dreaded IME insurance company doctor. And it could be vice versa. These steps 1 and 2 can be 2 and 1. They can flip around. The IME doctor will do their own evaluation and they'll file their own report with their opinion on your degree of permanent disability. Oftentimes, the trend is that they're going to find a lower disability ranking and your doctor's going to find a higher disability ranking. The reports go to the board reviews everything and starts pushing your case into the permanency phases. If you do have your report and the insurance company's report and those doctors don't agree as to your level of disability, which most of the time they don't, the judge steps in and most of the time depositions are directed. And what we do is we ask the questions, they give the answers, and we present those transcripts to the judge. Sometimes you might be asked to testify as well, how your injury might affect you, what limitations you might have. And the judge basically reviews the transcripts, lets us make arguments, and the judge reaches a conclusion as to which doctor they found more credible and which opinion they found more credible. The deadlines at this point in time in your case move rather quickly and they're strict. Or if the insurance company produced an IME with permanent disability, they may say, claimant, produce your report 45 days. If you wait a week to call your doctor to set up that appointment, you might be shit out of luck because doctor's offices get busy. You want to get that appointment scheduled. You want to get in there and see the doctor. You want to get that report. You want to make sure it's in the board file because you don't want to get precluded. And getting precluded is when the judge says, you snooze, you lose. You didn't submit your report like I asked you to. Tough. You're done. You're out. You don't get to submit a report anymore. And what do we have now? We have an IME report, which is probably not that favorable. And the best we could do is cross-examine that doctor and hope for the best. And it kind of sucks. You want to get it done as soon as possible. Deadlines come quickly. Missing a deadline can really lock in an unfair rating in your case and can really hurt you financially. When everything is all done, the judge is going to issue his decision. They're going to reach a conclusion regarding your level of permanent disability, whether it's scheduled or non-scheduled, whether you're partial or total, and what you're entitled to. How do workers' comp benefits work after MMI? After you've reached maximum medical improvement, a lot of things can happen here. Temporary benefits stop. Why? Because you're now permanent. But your check, your benefits might stop altogether for a lot of different reasons. The big reason is labor market attachment. Your doctor has found you to have a temporary total disability all throughout your case, but now you reach a point where the judge wants you to produce your own report on permanent disability. And the form that we discussed earlier has a spectrum of capabilities you could do: heavy work, medium work, light work, sedentary work. But there's no box for no work. So once your doctor checks that sedentary box, the insurance company says, well, your doctor's saying you're capable of something after all. And now that your doctor's finding a partial disability, we're raising labor market attachment. You need to look for work within your restrictions. But if the judge determines that you haven't done a good enough work search, they could suspend your benefits. They could suspend your benefits, then classify you with a permanent partial disability. Your benefits remain suspended unless and until you do a good work search. So now the clock is ticking, and every week that passes, a week less that you're going to get money for because you didn't do a good work search. So it's super important that you do that good work search. There are two different ways that permanent disability is assessed depending on your injuries. Your injuries are put into two different categories. There's the schedule loss of uses, the arms and legs, the hands and feet, the fingers and toes, and there's the non-schedule cases, those LWEC, loss of wage earning capacity, permanent partial disability, head, neck, back, core body injuries, strokes and heart attacks and all those things, systemic problems. If you have multiple injuries to body parts that are in both categories, both may apply. The judge looks at all the injuries together to decide which system gives you the correct by law result. And it really comes down to whether you're working full duty at full earnings or not. Schedule loss of use, every body part on the schedule, every arm, leg, hand, foot, all those body parts are on there. They all have a set value. The value is given as a number of weeks of benefits. So, for instance, 100% loss of use of an arm is worth 312 weeks of compensation. Let's just assume for the purpose of this demonstration that your average weekly wage was $900 a week. You are earning $900 gross weekly salary. Workers' compensation pays you 2/3 of that for a total rate of compensation. So the total rate for a $900 average weekly wage is a $600 compensation rate. If the doctors determine you have a 25% loss of use of that arm, you would get 78 weeks of compensation payable at that maximum rate, $600 per week. 78 weeks of compensation at $600 a week, $46,800 from that sum. And keep in mind, that's payable at that $600 rate. That's your total max rate. So it's 2/3 of your salary. From that gross total comes out any prior payments of compensation, any advanced salary, which is sick time, vacation time, employer just kept paying you when you got hurt, and an attorney's fee comes out of 15% of the remaining balance if you have a lawyer. Non-schedule cases, loss of wage earning capacity, they look at your medical condition and they also look at your vocational background, your age, your education, your job history. They want to see how likely or able you would be to try to return to work given your injury. The higher your level of permanent loss of wage earning capacity, the more money you get and the longer you get it. So let's just say you hurt your low back, just for the purpose of this example. The judge finds a 50% loss of wage earning capacity, and we give the $900 average weekly wage. Your max rate is $600 a week because you get 2/3 of your average weekly wage. With a 50% loss of wage earning capacity, you're going to get 50% rate. So you're going to get $300. A $300 loss of wage earning capacity gets you 300 weeks of benefit. $300 a week times 300 weeks is $90,000. But it's not payable upfront like in a scheduled loss of use case. It's stretched out over that 300 weeks, 5 3/4 years. If you're found totally disabled, 100% permanent total disability, that is the only time you get benefits for the rest of your life. All partial classifications have a set limit of weeks. You can still work in certain circumstances. So if you go back to work and you earn less, you may qualify for reduced earnings benefits. You might be entitled to 2/3 of the difference between your pre-accident salary and your current salary within that statutory maximum range. This is where the dollar value of your case really takes shape. A strong rating with a correct wage calculation can mean tens of thousands of dollars more. What happens with settlements after MMI in workers' compensation? Once classification is made, your case finally has a market value. The rating tells everyone how many weeks of compensation benefits you could potentially receive. This is usually when settlement talks will really start picking up at this point in time. Insurance companies know the value, and this is when offers are made, and this is when a lot of deals are done because now the numbers are more finite. I like trying to start that process before the numbers are finite because it gives us some room to work here. But, usually once you reach this level, this is where settlements happen. Settlements usually come in two forms. You have the stipulated agreement. Both sides agree on a level of disability, agree on an award, agree on whatever terms they want to agree on, and we write it down on a piece of paper, submit it into the board. We get a hearing, and boom, your case has reached a stipulated agreement. But a lot of cases go the Section 32 route because the Section 32 is that full and final closure. It gives that insurance company and you that clean break It's a full and final settlement that ends your case completely. And once it's approved, you give up all your rights to future payments, future benefits, treatment, and your case is closed. And the timing is everything. Carriers a lot of times will make a low first offer right after classification, hoping you'll take that fast money instead of the weekly check. Settling can be smart in the right circumstances. It can make sense if your condition is stable, your treatment is finished, and the amount reflects your full case value. Settling too early can be risky. You can lose coverage for future treatment and surgeries, pain management, medicines. Keeping your case open gives you long-term protection. You do retain lifetime medical benefits and can reopen your case if your condition does worsen in certain circumstances. It's not an open checkbook type of thing. You do have to follow certain rules. When your case is not closed with a Section 32, you usually have 18 years of the injury date or 8 years from your last payment to reopen if necessary. The decisions at this stage in your case are often final, and they determine how much money you're going to get. So you really don't want to go at it alone. Statistics show that those who have a lawyer often get higher settlement values than those who do not. So always my recommendation to get a lawyer. You want to make sure you have an attorney who knows what they're doing, that's handled this before, that does this regularly. We understand the process. We know how to guide you through it to get you the best outcome for your case. And if you guys have any questions about your case, you need some help, please feel free to reach out to me. Give us a call, 212-406-8989. If you need some help with your workers' compensation case here in New York, personal injury, Social Security disability, labor and employment, we have people who can help you with just about anything. And if you're not in New York State, we have lawyers that we work with all over the country. I'm here to help. Don't forget to hit the like button, please. Have a wonderful rest of your week and be safe. Bye-bye.